Hi, this is BK Black Krishna from manfulwars.com, where I'm promoting polite patriotism to help nice ladies and gents teach kids to be, look, talk, and feel great, and locally discuss and share great online info offline as better people making better places to live wherever they are in the world. So check out manfulwars.com for more on that. But this video is called Little Girl's Hoax Hate Crime, Really a Cry for Help? And that's what I see it as, right? And this is the story of a recent story of a little 12-year-old black girl who claimed that 3 white boys held her down and cut off her dreadlocks and called her all sorts of not nice names. And then, as a little 12-year-old girl, when the investigation started, she kind of cracked and admitted that this was a hoax, that she made this up, right? And she's getting a lot of negative feedback for it. They're comparing her to disgraced actor Jussie Smollett faking a hate crime in Chicago, where he claimed 2 white guys attacked him at 2:30 in the morning in Chicago on a cold night, and threw bleach on him and put a noose around his neck and beat him up a little bit. And all that turned out to be a fraud, because he actually hired 2 big black Nigerian bodybuilders to kind of pretend to be white guys and stage this crime. So that's the adult Jussie Smollett from the TV show Empire, light-skinned gay black guy. And tons of police investigated. They found out that was a total hoax. They have all the proof and the evidence. This is a little 12-year-old black girl. So this is different. When it compared to a 30-year-old black guy, a 12-year-old black girl is very different. And this applies to all 12-year-old girls out there and people in general, especially kids in general, when it comes to this sort of cry for help. So I'm gonna go over some of my thoughts on this while taking us through this article from Breitbart News, which has a short article reporting on it. And it says here, girl who said white classmates cut her dreadlocks says she made up story, courtesy of Breitbart.com. There you go, and this is courtesy of Catherine Rodriguez from September 30th, 2019. I think that's clear. I'll put a link to it below as well. But it says here, a 6th grade black girl at a private Virginia private school, who claimed 3 of her white classmates forcibly cut off her dreadlocks, is now admitting that her tale was made up. So, you know, obviously this is horrible. Hate crime hoaxes are horrible. But this is a little 12-year-old girl at a private school. So she might be feeling kind of lonely. Kids always want attention. And these days, as admittedly people get more narcissistic and selfish, especially adults and so on, it's probably harder for kids to get attention, right? And I know kids want genuine attention, right? I'm very good with kids, right? I like to look at kids, talk to kids, listen to kids, give them my full attention. I don't have kids, so maybe that's why I can give them maximum attention, whereas parents who have kids can kind of fade in and out. But part of that is kind of, what's happening to adults is what's affecting the kids. You can't say, oh, the kids suck, the kids suck, the kids suck, without going, why? Who'd they learn it from? Who's teaching them to suck or not to suck? Or who's responsible for that process? So while some people are blaming the kid, and I actually had to stop watching a short 7-minute video by comedian Nick DiPaolo on this, because I'm a fan of some of Nick DiPaolo's stuff, but he was just ripping into her along with his crew for doing this. And I just had to shut it off. I'm like, I can't take this. As a grown-ass man to grown-ass man, if you and I were having the conversation, Nick DiPaolo, I would set you straight on this, despite the fact that I agree with a lot of your serious or funny points as a veteran stand-up comedian. I'd have to crap on you about this, right? About your response to this. And I recall hanging out with a niece, a couple of years ago. As people are getting more gender neutral, rude sketchy, there's mass rude sketchy zombiosis going on out there. No more straight up guys, no more graceful, attractive girls, sort of all supposed to be guys, supposed to be more girly, girls supposed to be more guy-y, and that leads to us kind of being on some sheepish, sideways, sketchy stuff. I recall a couple years ago hanging out with a friend of mine and her niece and her kids, my basically my niece and nephew, not exactly niece and nephew, but family friends. And and I was hanging out on a couch side by each with lots of other people around with her 12-year-old daughter. And I don't see her that often, don't see him that often. And so I said to her, "Hey, what's up? Tell me what's going on. Tell me, what's happening, right?" And she kind of was looking away, and she was going, "Blah blah. I like swimming. I like this. I like to play piano. I like blah." She was just being really boring and distant and kind of looking away. And I said, "Hey, young lady." She went, "Huh?" Looked at me. I was like, "Listen, I know people are acting rude and sketchy and making each other uncomfortable. I'm trying to help people stop. I want to really, really listen to you. And I want you to really, really put a lot of effort into what you're telling me. I want to look at you and I want to see you get excited about what you're doing. So I get excited hearing about what you're doing and I'm really happy for you." Right? So I'm not going to make you uncomfortable. I'm not going to get worked up. I'm not going to make it hard to look at, talk to each other. Right? Can you do that for me? And she looked at me, well, she's 12, right? So she doesn't look at it like, oh, don't like it, but not supposed to talk about it. She's just taking it straight. And she's looking at me like, huh? Really? Her eyes got big. Yeah? I'm like, yep, I promise. Not going to make us too uncomfortable to look at or talk to each other, acting rude and sketchy, sheepish, can't stop shaking, making us uncomfortable, whatever. Try to distract, that type of thing. And so she's like, really? Her eyes got big. And then she looked at me and she got excited about what she was saying. "Oh, I like to go to piano. I like to do this and that. Oh, but I'm just," and she kind of looked away and got shy about how excited she got. "And then I like to go swimming and I got this and that. Oh, and I do really well." Oh, and then she got kind of shy about how excited she got. And she was, shrinking and she was being coy and feminine and whatever. And then she got excited and then she got shy and vulnerable and girly. And then she got excited. And it was a great conversation with this beautiful 12-year-old girl I happen to have the privilege of spending some time with, right? Because I'm a gender responsible man, not gender equal, gender neutral. We're all equal or neutrally messed up girls, but gender responsible. I've got to make sure I'm cool, other people are cool, where I am, where I live is cool. I got to make sure guys can be cool with me, straight up, don't lie, look a man in the eye, firm handshake, polite and brief, busy or friendly to be respected. No mess around, don't waste nobody's time, whatever, right? And with girls, same thing. Also have to account for confident masculine strength, meeting and confirming the same, and creating a safe space for confident feminine vulnerability. So they can be shy and graceful and cute and friendly and more manageable, right? You say they're manageable, they might get mad, but they don't want to be unmanageable either, right? So they want that type of comfortable interaction to make sure they can be feminine and attractive and good company, basically. Girls want to be good company. That's basically it. Just good company. Nice to have a girl here? Sure is. Great. Right? Isn't always one around. Sometimes you have other stuff to do. So by creating those conditions for this 12-year-old girl I was hanging out with, I had the opportunity to get a good version of her while she got a good version of me. And so if you do that, then kids aren't necessarily starving for attention as much, right? I recall another situation with another different niece of mine, a couple of nieces and my cousin's kids and his wife's kids. And, my cousin was busy doing some stuff, whatever, and the kid brought over something they drew. A little kid, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old or whatever, brought over something they drew, and my cousin, kind of busy, whatever, just looked at it, I was like, good, whatever, right? Shoot her away. She brought it over to me. I said, "This is crap." Kid was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is crap." She was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Yeah, this is crap, right? You can do a lot better than this. You are a lot smarter and more creative and more talented. You can do a lot better than this. This is nothing. This is crap. Go either fix this one or do another one, and when it's good, and you come back, and I'll tell you if it's good. But if it's not good, I'll tell you it's crap, so you don't make crap, and you make stuff that's good." Right? And little girls were like, "Oh!" I was like, "Go, shoo. Go, work on it. Work on it. Do a good job," right? So the girls kind of furiously worked on it, and they were coloring and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Before, it was just some sort of, squiggles on a page that were, sort of a few lines, not much coloring, as meh, right? So I sent them away, right? And then they came back and they showed me, and that is a good job, right? That is actually a good job. So that is genuine attention, and kids can tell when you patronize them, right? They may not argue or get in your face, or like if you're in a relationship with another adult or boyfriend girlfriend stuff, and they can say, hey, what's wrong, what are you doing, blah, blah. Kids won't do that. Kids will just kind of, oh, okay, you're paying less attention to me, I'll care less about the attention you're giving me, I'll care less about wanting your attention. But as a little kid, I still do want attention. And so, part of this hate crime, I think, is related to that adults getting crappier at being adults, crappier at paying attention to each other, shortened attention spans through social media. Supposedly our attention spans are now practically less than that of a goldfish. Goldfish attention spans 9 seconds. After a goldfish does something for 9 seconds, or after 9 seconds, a goldfish kind of forgets, what happened 9 seconds ago. Adults are now getting to that point with social media and scrolling through your phones and so on. So I think part of this hate crime hoax can be pinned on that, right? You get this little 12-year-old black girl, you get her, taking in some of the media, taking in some of the liberal media, some of the racism out there, how much attention people can get, and so on. And so she starts thinking, well, if you fake a hate crime, people feel really sorry for you, really bad for you. They care about you, or they act like they care about you. So this might be something good that I can do to get attention and have people act like they care about me, right? Then you've also got the victim culture. Oh, such a mess. Oh, such a mess. Oh, my goodness. I'm so mad about this. Oh, I'm so frustrated about this. Also part of the gender-neutral, globalist, rude line, bitchy, sketchy, mass zombiosis, right? Where everyone's a messed up girl. And so guys, instead of making sure they don't act like or put up with messed up girls, and nobody does, which is really what a man's job is supposed to be, instead, they act like and put up with messed up girls, right? And so as part of this process, everyone's a victim, right? Hey, how's it going? It's okay. You know how it is. Yeah, it's just, hey, you know how it is. Things are kind of messed up. Oh, yeah, no, totally. I'll do it back to you. What else could I do? I can't be like, oh, what's going on? How's it going? Oh, good. Oh, something wrong? Yeah, I got a problem. Great. I can talk to you about it. We can be confident. If you have a problem, I can solve it. I'm a grown-ass man. I can at least hear what it is and possibly help. So don't be pulling that, yeah, I don't want to know, all that crap, right? But with how much it is in style to be a victim, with Trump derangement syndrome victims, other victims out there, with victims based on race, with, the Black Lives Matter movement and other minority movements. We had 400 years of racism. We are so down. This place is racist. This is a racist hellhole. America's racist. Will always be. You are slave owners. It's blah, blah, blah. Whoa. Hold on. First of all, immigrants wouldn't keep coming to the West if we were a bunch of racists. Second of all a lot of our favorite artists and athletes and celebrities wouldn't be colored people if there was a bunch of racists here, right? And there'd be, people wouldn't be working together. You wouldn't go to TV shows. You wouldn't love Magic Johnson in the 80s or LeBron James now. That's insane. The place is not all full of racists, right? America is not a racist country. Canada, Europe, they're not. Are there racists? Yes, of course. You can allow for that. But can you classify them as a racist country? No, right? True racists might be 1% of the population. 1%, right? At most. And that's being generous. 1% in America is, 10% would be 33 million people. 1% would be 3 million people, right? Are there 3 million racists in a country of 330-something million people in America? Possibly. But the peer pressure of everyone else chills them out. So they're not even that much of a threat, right? Same with everywhere else in the world. But between the lack of attention and the victim culture out there, that would spark this young lady to do something like this, I think. And kids can learn better, right? And I'll go through some of the responses to this to show you how the victim messed up mentality persists even after all this is exposed. So this is not a good thing for kids either, right? So back to this article. It says here, a sixth grade black girl at a private Virginia middle school who claimed 3 of her white classmates forcibly cut off her dreadlocks is now admitting that her tale was made up. The 12-year-old student, Amari Allen, initially claimed 3 white boys held her down in a school playground during recess, covered her mouth, insulted her, and cut her hair using scissors. Allen's grandparents, who are her legal guardians, released an apology on Monday, quote, for the pain and anxiety these allegations have caused. Well, there's a couple of problems here, right? Either her grandparents are reflecting the type of thinking that would encourage this type of behavior, or they're exposing their kid to this type of thing, to this type of thinking that would facilitate this type of behavior. And of course, you've got to look at the culture, the education system, the mainstream media, the radical left corruption of normal, sensible liberals, and the shunning of conservatives to the point where liberals can't talk to anyone they disagree with. You're obviously a Nazi if you're not a leftist, right? And then when you can't talk to people you disagree with, as part of that line of thinking, you eventually can't talk to each other because you can't have nuanced opinions, right? You can't say, oh, calm down, it's not that bad. How dare you say it's not that bad? This is my life. This is my feelings. This is my truth. Another sort of liberal invention. There's not the truth. There's my truth, right? So if my truth is I'm a mess about this, how dare you, mess with my truth? Okay, fine. You have to be a mess about this. I have to be a mess about this to sympathize with you being a mess about this. And guess what we're raising kids to be? A mess about this, right? So all of that is in line with this thinking. So back to this article. It says here, quote, to these young boys and their parents, we sincerely apologize for the pain and anxiety these allegations have caused, the grandparents wrote in a statement obtained by the Washington Post. To the administrators and families of Emmanuel Christian School, we are sorry for the damage this incident has done to trust within the school family and the undue scorn it has brought to the school, the statement continued. To the broader community who rallied in such passionate support for our daughter, we apologize for betraying your trust, right? So again, all of this is sensible in a way, but also overblown, right? It's also overblown. They're all kids involved, ostensibly a group of, 3 12-year-old white boy kids supposedly did this to this little 12-year-old black girl kid, and that's wrong, and that's bad. That it's a hoax. But if stuff like this, bullying like this happens in real life, it should be stopped. But people shouldn't be freaking out over this, right? You shouldn't be freaking out over what kids do, right? There's an old saying, right? Don't cry over spilled milk. Now, who is supposed to say that? Adults are supposed to say that to kids. Why? Because kids don't know, right? You might have a little kid there eating peanut butter jelly sandwich, glass of milk, bumps into it with his hand, half a glass of milk falls on the floor, all of a sudden, oh no, there's a mess there, right? Adults know it's not a good thing, but it'll take 5 minutes to clean up, 2 minutes to clean up, right? And the little kid might start bawling, think it's the worst thing in the world. They think that they just committed the worst crime in the world, because for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old who doesn't know any better, that might be the worst thing ever, right? And so adults are supposed to say, don't cry over spilled milk, right? It's not something you need to get that freaked out over. But in this culture where everyone's supposed to be a victim, everyone's supposed to be messed up, we're supposed to go on and on about how messed up we are because something happened. It's hard for adults to say to kids, don't cry over spilled milk, right? And in this case, I would say don't cry over a little girl crying out for help, crying out for attention, because she's at a private school. Maybe it's mostly white people. She's the only black girl there, and she's got dreadlocks, which makes her even more different. Maybe her parents and other adults are not acting like responsible adults, cool with each other and cool with kids and able to show and get proper attention with kids and so on, and validate them and discipline them and educate them. And so, she's just crying out for attention. But even so, even with this hate crime hoax, this is still a little girl's cry for help. So adults shouldn't cry over spilled milk, or in this case, a little girl's cry for help, right? So they shouldn't go on and on about, the pain, the anxiety, the suffering, the torture. It's like, nah, little kid was screwing around, screwed up, and got caught, should be punished, and we should all move on, live our lives. We shouldn't act like this is the worst thing in the world ever done, and we are a big mess because it happened, right? So, back to this article. The school's principal also released an apology thanking the Fairfax County Police Department for assisting in the investigation. Quote, "We can now confirm that the student who accused 3 of her classmates of assault has acknowledged that the allegations were false. We're grateful to the Fairfax County Police Department for their diligent work to investigate these allegations," Danish wrote in a message sent to parents and the community. And again, why is this a police matter in the first place, right? Now, I guess there's assault or property damage when it comes to the cutting of the dreadlocks. I guess I'm sort of in favor of it, right? Sort of in favor of the cops being involved, but this is a bunch of little kids. Are there any other adults that work at the school, at the Emmanuel Christian School, that can handle this in a mature way, right? Or are they all messed up? This is a continuation of the school's message. And this is how the article ends. While we are relieved to hear the truth and bring the events of the past few days to a close, we also feel tremendous pain for the victims and the hurt on both sides of this conflict. We recognize that we now enter what will be a long season of healing. A long season of healing. That's what it says. Look. And that's why I brought up this article as part of this vlog, because that just drives me crazy. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Some little stupid kid did something stupid, said a bunch of other little kids did something stupid, a bunch of smart adults can clean this up, get a move on, not everyone be a mess, not everyone be a victim, not bring this up, and say, well, there's 400 years of slavery, how bad we have to feel. That's all insane. That is this sort of great globalist bitch out where we're all supposed to act like a bitch or a bitch's bitch who makes more bitches, who make more bitches, who make more bitches. And you can't stop someone, because if you do, you're not letting them live their truth, which is they are that messed up. So fine. So what are you going to do with someone that messed up if you can't be responsible and help them stop? You'll be that messed up. And so you're empathetically that messed up with somebody who's that messed up. That's what's going on here as part of this, right? And that's the great globalist bitch out brainwashing, whereas nationalists and polite patriots out there promote be nice, everyone likes, makes it easier for people to act nice enough to talk. Then you can say get bad guys, or here's some information, here's something to take seriously, and you can get the word out with meetings, meet and greet tables, posters, flyers, and more locally where you live to inform and empower people. Simple stuff, right? Not, oh no, we're all messed up, you have to be messed up. You could say, well, I better not stop them from being a bitch because they'll be even more of a bitch. But if you don't stop them, they'll be even more of a bitch. And it's the same with this type of thing. So, as I said in the title of this video, Little Girl's Hoax Crime, really a cry for help? I think it is really a cry for help. And I feel sorry for her, right? Looking at the way the adults reacted to this, at least one version of that way, courtesy of Breitbart News and the Washington Post and so on. To me, it's like these are not responsible adults that can say, get over this kid. These are irresponsible adults that might say, this is scarring all of us, the whole community. It's tied to a way bigger issue of race and slavery and oppression. And you should be scarred for the rest of your life as a result of this, which is total BS. Punished, absolutely. 12-year-old girl punished. Super bad thing to do, accuse people of something that they didn't do, lie about it and drag them into it and try and ruin their names. Absolutely punished for it. But to tie this to a long period of healing that has to take place after this is completely insane, and I hope this vlog helps explain that. So anyway, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, get in touch with questions, answers, ways to work together, or financial support as you'd like. Otherwise, BK Black Krishna from manforwars.com. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.